Hello and welcome to this Modurol video. Today we're going to look at the handbrake switch, how to access it, how to test it, and we're interested in the handbrake switch at the moment as part of our manual transmission swap. So I'm going to show you how to wire up the Glenn Nelson's MCM wiring loom to the handbrake switch, and also test if we need a pull-up resistor. Okay, one thing we need to talk about is part numbers. So the part numbers for the left hand and right hand are obviously different. The parts are identical other than they actually are mirror image, the handbrake mechanism and the switches. The bolts, washers and the packing pieces are obviously the same. What the first thing you need to do is actually to remove the driver's seat. We've actually covered that in a separate video. That's video 184. I'll put a link in the corner here. Take a look at that when you finish watching this video. Okay, so in order to remove the handbrake cover, you need to lift the back up. It actually is there's a slight clip here that needs to be released. Lift that off. There's a push fastener at the front end, and then it should just slide off along the handbrake. Lift the back up and it'll release it off. There's sort of the hook-ended handbrake, and there you go, the handbrake cover is off. You can just about see the hook area I was talking about at the back there. That's what you need to release at the back, and obviously got the push fit fastener on the front. Once you've got the handbrake released, you'll see on the inside of the handbrake there are three bolts, which you'll need a 13mm socket to undo them. So just quickly undo those. Once you've undone all the bolts, don't take them out, because there are washers and little standoffs on the other side. Oh, I've lost the washer there already. There's a washer, yeah, it's underneath. And then you can see on the back of the handbrake, this is the actual switch here. There's one connection because it uses the ground of the car. Before you put it back, bolted back together, make sure you've got the bolt, the standoff and the washer. Make sure they don't fall off as you're bolting it back on to the inside of the car. In order to test the switch then, what you can do is just loosen this bracket, spin it round so the plunger's free to move, and then turn the ignition on. Obviously with the plunger out, the handbrake is sensed as being on. So they press the plunger now, and the handbrake is off. On, off, on, off. That's very simply how you test the handbrake switch. So at this point, I'm trying to connect the handbrake loom to the handbrake. And this is the switch here. So with a multimeter, I put the ignition on, and I am getting 12 volts across these two terminals. So what I've got to do now is this spare terminal here will fit here, and I'll actually connect the earth underneath this particular one, this particular contact here. To actually feed, obviously this socket needs to go close to the gear selector. So I'm going to feed it behind the carpet to this point, and obviously from there through to the gear stick. Should be okay. I found this switch to be particularly tricky. You've got to make sure there's a little bit of clearance around these holes. So you need to push this all the way up to the lever to make sure that the switch is fully compressed. Originally, I think when I put it on, this was too far away and it wasn't actually depressing the switch. So it wasn't saying the handbrake was off. I've also moved the connection from this side to the back side. And you can see that there. Because I think the little gap under there was pushing the switch off. I think if you see there, it's not great because the lever is only half covering the switch. So watch out for that. Testing the voltages on the handbrake switch. So the handbrake is showing off on the instrument panel. The switch is in the handbrake off position. We're getting 12.27 volts. I've earthed the other side to the chassis, even though it's off the car. So if I now take this off, connect the MCM, and check the voltage. The MCM's connected. Check the voltage again. Oh, 4.2 volts. So Glenn, you are correct. The voltage is dropping. 4.2. So when we tested the voltage, it was clear that there was an issue. The MCM was dragging down the volts from 12 volts to 4. And Glenn resolved this issue. He explained adding the MCM into that circuit was putting a load of 15 milliamps to the part brake single, which was dragging it down. And the proposal was to add a pull-up resistor to the 12 volt signal line. Apparently this was actually resolved by Jaguar in a similar way on the XKR and the 4.2 litre cars. So what we did in our case, we added a 430 ohm resistor to the pink wire. So just to summarise how I've connected the handbrake switch. So the little connector is on there. I've wrapped it in a bit of tape just to insulate the top here. This is the power to the switch, and the earth I've actually fixed to the bolt on the back. So it's very positive. I'm pretty happy with that. The wiring then, the wire then passes through underneath the carpet and then up to the tunnel here. And then I've got the pull-up resistor linking to the cigar light power, just to help. So there you go, on to the next bit of our manual transmission swap. Anyway, hope you found that interesting. If you're having trouble with your handbrake warning light, testing the switch might be interesting, or might resolve the issue. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe for more Modurol videos. Bye bye.